heck am I looking at?
You are looking at the summarization of the entire Barbie movie.
Alright.
We have I Am Knuff, we got the horses, we got our good friend Karl Marx, and of course we have the thing every Barbie movie would not be complete about, an in-depth discussion about death and the nature of mortality.
Okay.
So, here's the thing. First off, I should probably address the elephant in the room. Or I guess the horse in the room at this point. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, apparently it is Bunny Day. So yeah, screw it. Happy Bunny Day, I guess. As Cav look over, it's like, yeah, I do have a bunny outfit. Screw it, I should just do that. I should also probably make sure my head's not constantly looking up awkwardly. Which is not done like... Okay, there we go. Alright, that's way better. Yeah, alright. Maybe a bit more... Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Alright, I think I finally got it, yeah. Okay, so yeah. So, here's the thing. I'm just gonna go straight into Barbie movie talk because you said you were tired and stuff.
Not
yeah.
tired, I have a headache.
Right,
yeah. Yeah, go for it.
So here's the thing, immediately, this movie is great. I think a big, like, part of why it's so good is that this movie basically, like, the sense of humor it has feels like a type of joke that, like, we would make about a hypothetical movie, you know? Like, it kind of sounds like a joke pitch. Which is amazing because that means that every single plot beat I'm going to talk about is going to sound insane and hilarious out of context. Because it's like, yeah, the movie just starts off, so it's like, okay, so here's the premise, right? Yeah. So, like, alright, Barbie's living in her Barbie land, and it's like, it's literally like, you know, it's like Toyland. It's like, they actually bring up, like, oh, is it another dimension, or is it, like, the kids playing? And a character literally looks at them and says, shut up, don't overthink it.
Okay.
This is the vibe of the movie. It is so self-aware, it's crazy. Yeah, it just starts off and go, no, right, yeah, because it starts off before we get to Barbie Land. Yeah, the opening scene. Oh, God. Like, this is like in one of the trailers. This is like the thing that made me be like, alright, this movie's probably gonna be pretty good. Is that, like, opens with this big, like, narration of, like, oh yeah, back in the before times, you know, little girls would always play with, like, baby dolls, and, you know, they would always just, like, pretend about being mothers, and, you know, there's this, like, little scene of, like, you know, the little girls, and they're like, you know, they're, like, dressed like, you know, like pioneers or something, but they're, like, in this caveman world.
Okay.
And it's like, and then, you know, it all changed with the invention of the Barbie. It's this giant fucking Barbie in, like, the, like, original bathing suit or whatever, just, like, towering above them as it, like, plays the score to, like, the opening of 2001: A Space Odyssey to the kids, just freaking smashing their baby dolls on the rocks because they don't need that crap. They got Barbie now.
Alright.
Something that'll become very quickly apparent is like, yeah, no, this is not a kid's movie. This is, like, aimed at, you know, people who grew up with, like, the toys and stuff.
Right.
There are, like, many references here that, like, children would really not get, and it's kind of great. Yeah, they set up the Barbie world, and it's like, is our dimension, is it, like, you know, imagination? Like, don't worry about it, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, they're, like, set up, and it's like, okay, yeah. It's like World Made of Plastic, all the Barbies are just kind of doing their thing. They're all like happy and just living it up, Like we go through kind of like Barbie's morning routine. It's like there's a lot of like really clever like visual gags here that are kind of like subtle. Cause it's like, oh yeah, she like wakes up, she goes, like she steps out of her little like slippers, and it's like when she steps out, she's like still walking on her like, tippy toes, because that's what the dolls are like.
Right.
Because the feet are like angled super weird. And she like, goes to take a shower, like turns the thing, there's no water, because of course there's not. It's a fake shower, it's plastic. It's literally like a model house.
Right.
Yeah, she just like mimes it. Just cuts to her outside, she's just clean now. Just kind of like goes by, gets like her breakfast, has a little like May fridge that has like, 5 things in it because it's a tiny like toy fridge.
Yeah.
Just freaking gets a glass of milk, which she tilts it over the cup and no liquid comes out because it's a toy, and she just mimes drinking like out of the thing. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's good. It's kind of like, in Toy Story 3, how they open and they have like the big toy action sequence,
I
It's
haven't
like,
actually seen Toy Story 3.
yeah, it's basically that, for everyone who knows what that's like, except it's like they're taking the logic all the way through, and they're just straight up being like, okay, yeah, no, this is exactly like you're playing with the thing, like, is more self-aware than that.
Mm.
So it's like, she's like, gets through with her morning routine, just kind of like, goes and like she just sort of like magically floats from like the window to the front lawn, because the narration's just like, oh yeah, in Barbie Land, Barbies don't walk because that's not how kids play with them. Instead they just kind of float and appear where they need to be. Because it's like, yeah, kids don't like, walk their like toys around. They just pick her up and it's like, oh yeah, now they're at the other place, because of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, like lots of like little subtle things that make sense. They go out, they drive by, they like say hi to all the other Barbies. They say hi to pregnant Barbie, who was recalled because, as the narration says, a pregnant Barbie doll was just a bit too weird. It's like you have the little like song going, and it's like, it's like, oh yeah, pink, it's like P-I and K each stands for a different word, and like K is just cool. They like go through, it's like, oh yeah, Barbie like has a little like fun little day, at the beach or where, like, have another like good gag where like, Ken like runs off to the ocean to like get some waves or whatever. And it's like he hits the water because it's like a plastic thing, It's on stuff reacting like a real person. He just goes like flying back in this super exaggerated cartoon way. It's like they hang out for like a good few seconds of him just like flipping around in the air on like obvious wire work. Because it's like, yeah, that's how you do the thing, Like, kids don't, do realistic, like, hits or more. They're like, oh no, they got hit, and they'll just throw the toys around. It's like, yeah, they have a little, like, thing, And very quickly it becomes clear that it's like, oh yeah, no, Ken's, like, got a thing for Barbie. And this is his big character arc of the movie, is he's like, okay, there are multiple types of Kens, and like Beachkin specifically wants to get through what like the movie kind of brands stereotypical Barbie. Like the Barbie that's not like a doctor or a like scientist or whatever. She's just stereotypical Barbie.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to like get with her, and she's just like, he's like, oh yeah, Cass, come by your place, and she's like, oh yeah, yeah, sure, it'll just be like just us, and like a fully choreographed, pre-planned dance party with all the Barbies in town, just like always, just a quiet little thing. Is good. They have like a full-on whole like crazy dance scene. Surprisingly like well choreographed. Like holy crap, they actually put their work into this. But yeah, so they like do the thing, Ken's really jealous or what. Like he keeps trying to like dance with her and he keeps like, getting like just sidelined and having to dance with the Arkins or whatever. But yeah, I should mention our main Ken is like Beach Ken. I'll probably just keep calling him Ken for like simplicity, just for the sake of it.
Probably for the best.
But yeah, they like do the whole thing. And in the middle of it, they're like, oh yeah, this is the best day ever. It's like, yeah, tomorrow's going to be the best day ever too. And the day after that and every other day. And our Barbie's just like, hey, you guys ever think about death? And they all just stop for a second. And she's like, I mean, yeah, best day ever, right? Yeah. So they go through the thing, they like do that, And it's like, okay, next day Bar wakes up, it's like, oh no, she's like actually going through a bit, and she's like contemplating death, and she can't escape the existential thoughts of like the end of the world and stuff. And she's just so disillusioned that her like heels go flat on the ground, and she starts freaking out about it. It's like this big thing she's like embarrassed about. And you get like a reprisal of the song from earlier, where it's like, yeah, P, pain, I, inevitable, N, nihilism, K, death. Just sort of like goes through a thing. So it's alright, so here's the plot, right? So in order to figure out, like Barbie goes to Weird Barbie, and she is specifically told by like freaking Weird Barbie, who everyone just knowingly just refers to as Weird Barbie.
Okay.
She is the like representation of the Barbie every kid has, where they played with them too hard and just fucked them up.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the Barbie where you like you actually like cut their hair and you like draw on them and you like throw them across the room and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and Weird Barbie just sort of like, Strip explains like, okay, yeah, you're feeling bad because like the girl who's playing you is like in a bad mood. And they're like dealing with these thoughts of like death and existentialism and stuff. So it's like, okay, you have to go to the real world to find your like, girl that's like playing with you, and to like basically, make her happy and solve that whole problem, so that, you can like fix the rift and keep the worlds from like, like merging or whatever the crap. Like you have to keep them from becoming more connected and like, lessening the boundary between worlds or whatever. So it's like, alright, this is like the big plot of the movie. It's like, alright, Barbie's got to go to the real world by like taking an elaborate series of like vehicles using cartoon logic. And it's like, oh yeah, car into like freaking minivan, like vacation into rocket ship into freaking was it like the ski like snowmobile or whatever, into like rollerblading into like real city or whatever. It's like, all right, into the beach walk. And they're just like, oh yeah, just you just have to take these vehicles in this exact order, and then you come back and you do the exact opposite. And Barbie's just straight up like, oh, like do them in like the reverse order, or like and do it backwards, and they're like, yeah, don't overthink it. Just big tagline of the movie is characters just questioning the logic and just being like, yeah, no, shut up, don't worry about it. They're like lampshading this so freaking hard, holy crap. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, she goes to a real world. It's like Ken just kind of tags along because he just wants to like get with her and prove he's useful and stuff. So it's like, okay, yeah, we got our plot, we gotta go to the real world, track down the girl responsible, and immediately Barbie gets like just sexually harassed by dudes.
Like, like other dolls, or
No,
because
she
like
goes to the real world and it's like actual like guys on the boardwalk are seeing her in her like her big goofy like gaudy pink neon 80s outfit that's like it like looks like a freaking toy set, and they're like, "Oh, nice outfit. Yeah. Yeah, you rock it, girl." And they're like, "Oh, I'd like to see my wife in that or whatever." Like a bunch of just weird comments, a dude like slaps her on the ass.
so she's still like a Barbie doll. Like,
Yes.
or is she like, okay, so she's not suddenly live action.
No,
Okay.
she's an actual person the entire time. Yeah, it's
Oh.
like an actual actor, but she's just like they just got her in like, really like toy-like outfit,
Oh, okay. For some reason, I was under the impression that the Barbie movie was like CG or something.
Oh no. It's like a live action thing. Yeah,
I see.
so she goes to the real world and it's like, alright, immediately gets her ass felt like, this is whatever. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll just go to the construction site. There'll be a lot of girls working there, right? And it's like all the construction workers are guys, and one of them just like, he's like slap her on the ass, and she reflexively just punches him out. There's this subtle joke where it's like, oh yeah, I see before that it's like when toys get hit, they like go flying like super crazy. But it's like, he reacts like a normal person, and Barbie just freaks out like, oh my god, As hit someone, and they didn't, like, what is this? So yeah, just hard cuts him being like arrested by the police, and the cops are also like leering her up and being like, yeah, that's like, you sure you're in the right place, princess, Yeah, they like get arrested and they just kind of like get out of jail. Yeah, this movie's just basically wrong cartoon logic the entire way through.
Clearly.
Yeah. So she like gets out and she's like, okay, yeah, we probably do need like better clothes because we're standing out too much. So they just go into like a clothing store and they like, walk out just like in like new outfits that also look super toy-like. And like immediately, I'm just like, wait, did they even have like money? And the guy at the store's like, hey, you gotta pay for that. And they get arrested again. So it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. They thought ahead. They like thought ahead and dealt with it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I should mention, like, while this is all gone, there is a subplot quickly developing where, like, Barbie is looking around and she's like, but where's all the girls at? Where's all the girl power? This is so weird. And meanwhile, Kens are just used to being second fiddle, and they're kind of like second-class citizens. So it's like all the guys are like, oh yeah, nice outfits, haha. And they're like, yeah, cool skates, bro, just kind of sarcastically. And Ken is just loving it. Like, Ken gets arrested, he is like smiling up and giving the biggest thumbs up, It's kind of great. But yeah, this is the big thing of the movie, is that it's like, oh, the patriarchy, and Barbie has to understand that, in this world, it's run by men and not women. And Ken's just like, this world's run by men, not women. That's awesome! Holy crap! I love everything about this. So like... Yeah, go off. Yeah, they're like trying to figure out where like her girl is. The only instructions they have is you'll just kind of know. So it's very vague. It's very much just like, oh yeah, you'll just you'll know them when you see them, Like they get some fleeting visions and Barbie sees like, like a mother and daughter and she's like, okay, yeah, so like yeah, they're at this like school. I have to go here. So this might be one of my favorite dumb ab context scenes in the movie. Because Barbie just goes to this like middle school and tries to talk with this like angsty middle school girl who's like just really edgy or whatever. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm your Barbie and I'm here to help you and da. And your friends are like, yeah, come on, just unload her. And the girl just like she just gives Barbie this big dressing down, starts like just insulting her left and right, and she's like, oh, you stand for all these horrible things, oh, you're responsible for like for rampant capitalism, and your line is sexist and you're the worst, and yeah, you're a fascist, Barbie. Like, ironically, she just calls Barbie a fascist. To which Barbie, like, having, like, recently learned about human empathy, runs away crying. It's just like, holy crap. That's so much funnier than it's a right to be. But yeah, the whole thing where it's like, okay, that's gone. Meanwhile, there's a C plot going where like the people at Mattel, like the actual toy company, have realized that Barbie is in the real world now, and immediately they're like, oh god, this can't happen. Not again.
Not again.
Not again. Yeah, I do give a quick exclamation, which, honestly, it might have been funnier if they just did, because, like, it's really funny to just imagine what that means, but they're also like, yeah, the last time a Barbie came to the human world, they took a baby on, like, a ski resort trip, and they died!
Okay.
It's like, alright. Yeah, and their whole thing is they're like, okay, we have to like capture Barbie and we have to literally put her back in her box. Like in this big novelty, just this oversized Barbie doll toy box. And we have to get her in there and we have to tie her up with freaking zip ties. Like giant human-sized zip ties.
So did they make Barbie and then like she became sentient, or is this one of those don't think about it things?
This is literally like a don't think about one. Like Barbie Land just exists.
Okay.
One of the board members is like, is this like in our reality, or like, yeah, is this connected to this? And they're like, just don't think about it. Just shut up.
Okay.
It just exists. Just don't question it. God, they lampshade this so well. I love it. But yeah, so you just go through, and it's like, Barbie's trying to, like, figure out how to deal with her kid. Meanwhile, Ken just reads up a bunch of, like, manpower, like, anti-feminist books or whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, I need to, like, become part of the patriarchy or whatever. And he just... God, this Ken just walks into like a freaking doctor's office and he's like, hey, I'd like to, operate on a dude and do brain surgery. And they're like, what? No, go away. And he's like, yeah, but I'm a man, right? And they're like, no, that's not how, just no.
He thinks that because men are more like in charge, it means everything works like the opposite of Barbie world.
It's like they have an understanding of, like, you know, some real world stuff, but it's like, you know, they're very naive about how, like, social things work.
Right.
Like, kid just walks up to his, like, business CEO. He's like, oh, hey, yo, you should give me a job. Yeah, I can, like, work here. And they're like, no. And Ken's like, bro, I'm a guy, don't men run the world? And they just kind of, like, look around. And they're like, well, yeah, but we try and be a bit quiet about, And he's like, oh, right. But yeah. So Kid's just is like, he looks over after all of this, and Barbie's like really upset. I'm getting a lot of Kinergy in here. Yeah. Like, Kid just looks over and Barbie is being kidnapped by Mattel. Like, just guys in suit just run out of a van and they're just like, oh yeah, this way, Barbie. And they just take her away. And Kid just looks over like this random woman. He's like, oh, what can I do, maybe I should like save her. And they're like, no, it'd probably. And he's like, oh, but what if instead I just bring the patriarchy back to Barbie Land? It's like, alright. It's like, sure, you do you, kid. You do you. But yeah, so he just kind of goes back. Barbie, they're about to like get her in the box, and somehow she's just like, maybe I shouldn't, and she like manages to escape. We quickly learn that it's like, oh yeah, the girl who is playing with the Barbie, the like one who's giving her emotions that makes her sad, like, you might have just like considered that like, a child having thoughts of like nihilism and like a fear of death is a bit weird.
I mean, I'm assuming that either it's an adult or she is growing up or something.
Yeah, it's the mom. Yeah. It's a pretty good twist, is that it's like, it's the mom, yeah. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's actually the story of like, the mom being like, okay, I was just like feeling really depressed and upset about things and, really like, not satisfied with life. So I started like playing with my old Barbies again, and I guess my thoughts of like death and inevitability in my own like midlife crisis just affected Barbie world.
Incredible.
Oh, man. So yeah, she's just like, literally, it's like, Barbie's like, oh, well, you should like come back with me, you should see it for yourself, it's actually really cool, and they just, go on this big, like, trip back to Barbie world. And it's like, Dar's like, wait, but why are we just going there? And she's like, because I don't get to do anything fun! We're doing this now! They have a fun little like bit where it's like a chase with Mattel, like chase after in their like big black van, and like the mom's like out driving them and doing like stunt driver stuff. And or like Dar's like, oh, whoa, when did you like learn to do that? And she's like, oh, well, there's this guy, and I was like, I got really into him for a bit. And the kid's like, oh, was that dad? And she's just like, oh, well, he was a daddy. It's like, yeah, just fantastic. Man, they go and they're like, they escape to Barbie world, and the government agent. Sorry, not the guard. I keep on thinking of that. It's Mattel, not the government.
It's a big evil corporation.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing at this point. The big evil Mattel corporation that was like run by freaking Will Ferrell. Admit you enjoyed it. Oh yeah, this movie was great. Just straight up. Listen, I feel like this is how I would have made a Barbie movie. This is like totally my sense of humor right now. But yeah, Will Ferrell's just like, oh, dude, we have to like skate after him for it to work, and we need to get our skates. Oh, come on, we'll have to like go back after we've like got the thing, go after him. And one of them's just straight up like, oh, but is it really worth it to go after him? They're going back to Barbie World, right? And he's like, no, listen. You can't even imagine what this could cause. This could do anything. They're like, yeah, it could cause a podcast where it's two trees talking about stuff. And everyone just looks at them and they're like, yeah, it could do that, I guess. Didn't tell guys that bad aside from typical corporate pawns. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like later on, they like the Mattel guys get to Barbie World, and once things are like kind of settled down, they're actually kind of like cool with things, and they're like, oh yeah, we just didn't want Barbie out in the real world or whatever. And Will Ferrell's like, I had a dream as a kid of like just doing Barbie stuff, and I want to help her accomplish that dream or whatever. But yeah, the Barbies, they get back. Within roughly like 24 hours, Ken is just completely taken over. Kid has completely swapped the status quo, and he has created the Kingdom.
Oh my god.
And it's like gag a minute. Yeah, it's like gag every like 10 seconds, and they're all like really. It's like they just go there, and there's the kin. Unironically, there is a kin war. There is a war of the kins / a kin dance off.
Of course, dance off.
Yeah, where they go to have a war, and they specifically mention like, wait, how are we gonna have a war? We don't have any guns or anything, and they're like, we'll improvise. We'll make it work. But yeah, they go there like the kids of take over. There's a quick gag where Ken's like, learn about they use Barbie accessories. I'm pretty much. There's a quick gag where like kid is like learn about patriarchy. He's like, oh, men run the world. And he's saying like, oh, there's guys in power, and there's like men like all these different positions. It looks over and they're like police officers on horses. And his big takeaway is like, oh, heck yeah, horses. So they go back, and it's like all the kins are like. They're all just like running everything, and they're like kind of trashing the place, and they're like just partying it up, and they have all the Barbies in like maid outfits. They're kind of like scummy looking, like handing them like just literal like beer as they like just go about on their like whole thing. Like they used to have like a Mount Rushmore. There was like 4 Barbie heads, and they replaced it with horses. They are very into horses right now. That's kind of great. They go through. It's like, oh geez, the kids have like taken over. Like the mermaid Barbies are now mermaid kids. They just. Like immediately, it's like, oh, what happened? It's like freaking the bars are just like, oh yeah, the kids just showed up, and they're like, yeah, we'll just do your jobs for a day. And it's like, yeah, that sounds nice, sure, why not? And immediately like the Dar's like, oh my god, the Barbies have been brainwashed. Ken is like there is a specific line where they're like, oh yeah, it's like when like the freaking colonials, came to America and they wiped out the natives with smallpox. They had no like natural immunity to it. They had no natural resistances. The Barbies are so like not used to the patriarchy. They have no natural immunity to the patriarchy. So Ken just takes over. It's like, the only way to fix this is, I kid you not, is by giving a feminist female empowerment speech about the contradictions of being a woman, and that snaps them out of it. And immediately like they get one of the brainwashed Barbies and they do the speech, and she's like, why am I wearing this sleazy outfit? I'm supposed to be a scientist. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? But yeah, they have a whole like thing where they're like, taking the kingdom, and they see all the stuff Ken's done, and Ken is just chilling out at his Mojo Jojo Casa house, I think. Yeah, it says Mojo Jojo Dojo Casa house. It's like, wait, aren't all of those just words for like the same thing? Or they're all just like a house? And he's like, yeah, but it's really fun to say. Yeah, they have a whole thing where it's like, all right, yeah, they go to like Weird Barbie for like answers, and they just, God, this is so good. They hang out with the other rejected Barbies. And it's like, they meet the rejected Barbies, and the like rejected Kens that have been discontinued. Oh, Weird Barbie's so good. I love her. It's like, why is she always doing the splits? It's like, yeah, it kinda makes sense. It makes sense if you think about it. But yeah, they're with the other rejected, like, toys. And it's like, they're immediately, like, led to be introduced to freaking, and I quote, Sugar Daddy Kid.
Oh no.
Because he is a little dog named Sugar, and he is their daddy. Okay. Which is, it's so specific. I have to imagine this is like an actual thing. Especially because the other one they introduce is freaking Magic Earring Kid. And it's like, just lucky. I don't know if you know anything about this franchise. Do you know what the deal is with Magic Earring Kid?
No.
So this is an actual real thing. I'm not bullshitting. This was real. Where it's like, basically the story goes that they're like, okay, I need like new designs for like toys or whatever. So they just sent some, designers out to the city. Don't know much about Magic Earring Kid. Yeah, they sent toy designers out to like a nightclub or whatever, right? And this is like back in like the 90s, so there's like a pretty big gay scene at the nightclub. And how gay people would like, at the time signal to each other that they're like looking to hook up is, they would wear a cock ring around a chain necklace. So, not knowing any better.
Oh no.
The toy designers just looked over and they're like, yeah, those guys seem fashionable. They seem pretty popular. We should just, And it was very quickly discontinued. They very quickly learned their lesson.
That's funny.
They accidentally made Ken gay. That's the takeaway. God, it's kind of extra funny because like during the freaking War of the Kins dance-off / fight scene, There's just a scene in the Ken interpretive dance/song number where, like, just main Ken is doing his thing, and two of the Arkins are, like, doing a big dance move with him, and they just casually just lean in and kiss, like, both sides of his, like, cheeks, as a quick, like, gag. And it's like, oh god, they actually did make Ken gay. But yeah, they also have, like, a TV screen Barbie, which is also funny, but, like, not as goofy. Oh, yeah, right. Also, boob-growing Barbie is there.
Oh, no.
Because, yeah, I repeat, this movie is very much not for kids. They knew what they were doing. They knew who they were aiming this for.
Clearly.
That was Skipper with the boob crook. Oh, God. Oh, man. Jeez. But yeah, so they just kind of discuss their battle plans, and they're very much like, yeah, we have to stop those Kins, They've got everyone deeper in the freaking male gaze or whatever than, like, a bunch of Aeronets nerds obsessing over the Snyder Cut. Just hard shots fired. Yeah, the whole plan is like, oh yeah, we'll just distract Ken by just, doing something to get him to to mansplain something to the Barbies. And then, they'll just, like, while he's distracted, they'll, like, pull, Barbies away from the Ken and, like, deprogram them. And it's like, just stuff like, oh, I really suck at golf. I wish someone could help me, bat. Just like, oh man, I don't understand how to do my taxes. If only someone could help me with that. My favorite was, like, freaking, oh, hey, they're like watching it. It's like, oh, I've actually never seen The Godfather. I wish someone could, like, tell me about it. And, Ken's like, oh, yeah, you bet, like, let's watch it for 3 hours as I meticulously talk over the movie to explain the entire plot to you. It's like, oh man, just the freaking shots, holy crap. Yeah, they just deprogrammed the Barbies. It's like, alright, phase 2 is like, okay, deprogram the Barbies. Now, what we have to do is we have to turn the Kins against each other. God, this freaking movie. We have to turn the kids against each other as we spend that time, like, ratifying the Constitution to preserve democracy. And it works. Because it's like the kids have, like, seized power, but it's like they can't just take over or anything. They're still just bound by the Constitution because that's how kids think. So yeah, they just, all the Kins are singing, like, the same love song to each of their Barbies, and, like, midway through, while they're the most invested, after 3 hours of literally, and I quote, singing at them. Not to them, singing at them. The Barbies just, they all just, like, take out their phones and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, sorry, I gotta take this. And they proceed to pair off with other kids and just break all of their hearts simultaneously. So, thus begins the War of the Kids. Oh, also this entire time they keep cutting away to Will Ferrell and Mattel just going into Barbie World, and they just go through all the steps. Like they all just have to group roller skate. You know, they'll have the big like tandem bicycle ride, but they're all on like the same tandem bicycle, and it just has like a million seats on it. And it's like, okay, yeah, good visual gag is good. Good gag is good. Man, they finally like show up to the Kin song sequence slash fight scene slash interpretive dance battle that ends in all the Kins just holding hands in a circle and belting out power chords about how they're all just Kin. It's like they look over and they're like, wait, what time is this? Oh, fuck, the government meeting! Like, Will Ferrell is yeah, Will Ferrell's great in this. He's doing exactly the type of performance you're expecting of him. It's so good. But yeah, the Barbies win and they retake Barbie Land. And you know, Kid's a big thing where he's like, for guys like, oh no, but my plan, I almost had it, no. And yo, they have to, God, I'm skipping over so many good gags that's fine. But yeah, Ken's just like, oh man, you know, and Barbie's like trying to comfort him. And he's like, he tries to go in for a kiss, and Barbie's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And he's like, oh, what if? And she's like, no, just, you know, the big takeaway is that it's like, hey, you can be like, you know, self-satisfied. You can be like, you know, good in yourself on your own and be like self-reliant without a woman. You don't need to like base your entire personality on whether or not you have a girlfriend. God. Yeah, that's the other thing. I can't believe I forgot about this part. Because there's a recurring joke where, you know, of course, it's like, yeah, they're toys, right? Like, they're played by real people, but they're toys.
Yeah.
And there's a, like, whole gag where, like, Barbie goes to the real world and, like, you know, she gets catcalled. And they're like, oh, I wonder what's in those pants. And Barbie's like, oh, well, yo, there's nothing. There's nothing because, yo, I'm a Barbie and I don't even have a vagina. And this man does not have a penis. Just straight up. And it's like, it's this running thing of like, oh yeah, yo, they do not actually have sexual organs. Like, there's a line where Ken's like, oh yeah, yo, can I just come over to your place for the night? And Barbie's like, yeah, and do what? And Ken's like, I don't know. But yeah, so that's like, yo, they're just playing out relationship for a while, and Barney's like, yeah, no, we're not getting together. You know, this is not gonna be a thing. You know, you have to like find your own reason for like living and stuff. So eventually, Ken just finally like, yo, he finally like figures it out, and yo, he realizes like, oh right, I all I have to do is just be Ken, and that's fine. And he's like, yeah, I am just enough. As I lean to the side so people can see the dumb shirt. Oh, it's so good. It's like, okay, yeah, well, yeah, like, the kids don't quite get equal rights, but, yo, the narration just directly says, like, oh, well, yo, they don't quite get, like, the same rights, but, yo, they'll get there, and they'll work for it, and, yo, maybe if they all work together, one day they'll have the same level of rights that women do in the real world. Yeah! It's like, alright, yeah, that's good, that's good. Yeah, so they just, yo, sell that, and freaking Will Ferrell finds the Barbies, and yo, Right, that's the other thing I forgot. There's a whole bit where it's like Ken takes over the Barbie world. As he's taking over, like the Ken line is actually taking over in the real world, and they're making all the Kens now.
Oh.
Like kids are actually replacing Barbies. And Mom's just like, wait, but isn't this a good thing? And like, profits are up, right? We could just keep going with this. And Will Ferrell's just like, no, I have a dream when I found this company. I don't want the Ken store to take the Barbies. Barbies are meant to be for girls, damn it. So it's like his like intentions actually are like like good and all that stuff. He's just he just wants Barbie back in the box. He just doesn't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do the thing, and they like kind of like solve all of that. Will Ferrell kind of like accepts things, and he's like, all right, well I'm just gonna like go back since everything's sold up or whatever. And the mom finally gets to talk to him, and she's like, wait, but what if we just had like a new type of Barbie? It's just ordinary Barbie. Like they're not a doctor, they're not a scientist, they're not like a rocket scientist. They're just plain ordinary Barbie. They're just for the normal girls. And Mom's like, that sounds like a horrible idea. And one of the Mattel guys is like, yeah, but it could make lots of money. And they're like, you know what, do it. Yeah, bitch it, let's go.
Yeah, money.
The big picture at Kid Collection would be a nice collection for the barn collectors. Oh, heck yeah. Ken Cat does get the shaft, like, justifiably so, but still. I have to imagine there's no way they're not gonna put out like Just Knuff or something after this. Like they gotta.
Like a Ken doll with a shirt that says that.
Yeah. If you look on like the thing, I've got the image right here of the I am Knuff.
Yeah.
Like I have to imagine every unique look in this movie is just going to be like a collector's item now. Like, there's no way they wouldn't. They have to know. It's gonna be I am Knuff with, like, a horse or something.
Yeah.
Folks want that swear, yeah.
Yeah, and there are some people who are, like, absolutely crazy about collecting Barbie stuff.
God, there's like an entire scene where Ken's like, no, get lost and take all your dumb clothes with you and, take your like Barbie 1994 Go-Go pants, where he's like throwing all the like, clothes out like one by one as they like fly through the air. They like immediately just unfold and pause and freeze frame with like the name just so everyone knows what it is. It's so on the nose. It's just hilarious. It's so good. Holy crap. But yeah, they solve the thing and they're like, okay, yeah, we finally solved that, and we dealt with Ken and everything. And like Barbie meets with like her original creator, like the Ruth or whatever, the way who came up with the actual like company and the idea and stuff. And they like, there's the opportunity for Hellspark dolls. Oh yeah, that would great. Dude, they should have done Headless Barbie. That would be so good.
Just a Barbie without a head.
Yeah, they just have like, one of those like green screen like, things, but it's like just the mask. So they're just like, they're just going around with a head, but because they're headless, they can't see well, and they just have to hang out with weird Barbie. We are just writing fanfiction at this point, and I'm up for that. But yeah, they just... Oh god. They just, they do it the whole thing. The buy with the neck up, yeah. Oh, that'd be so doable. Just green screen it out. But yeah, they do a whole thing, and it's like, they're introduced to, like, Ruth, who is, like, strip, like, the original, like, creator of the company and stuff. And, They make a quick joke about how it's like, oh yeah, she's the original creator of the Barbies. Also, she avoided her taxes and like was thrown in jail for it or whatever. Like they just throw it out there just for the sake of it. Uh, but yeah, Barbie goes through, like, she goes through this entire, like, this entire vision where, Ruth is like, oh yeah, you can choose to live in Barbie land, or you can, like, still have to leave the company. Okay, yeah, alright, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, she's like, you choose to stay in Barbie land, or you can choose to become a real human and, live in the real world with, like, actual feelings and ideas and stuff. So it's like Barbie goes through this big, like, emotional, like, montage of, like, so a bunch of like home video footage, and it's like, like kids and adults and parents and like old people and all these like women, and it's like all the signs of humanity and like growing old and like like growing up and going through life and stuff, and not being an immortal, always happy toy that eats toast every day and somehow has like expired milk in the fridge even though it's a toy milk carton. Yeah, okay. But yeah, we like see her kind of like choose the real world. It just ends on her in like this van. The mom and the daughter like seeing her off. They've like learned to accept Barbie and all this stuff, and they've had like a whole character arc on the movie. It's like Barbie goes into this building. They're like, oh yeah, I'm here for the meeting, and they're like, oh yeah, what's your name? And she's like, oh, Barbara or whatever the heck. It's like Barbara, I think. Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm Barbara, and they're like, yeah, and she's like, I'm here to see my gynecologist. Because she's a person now.
Okay.
It's the end joke. It ends on a freaking vagina joke.
Good.
It's like, alright, yeah, no, that's perfect. That's exactly the way we should have ended this off. Ah, God, this film was so good. Holy crap. Barbara Handler. Yeah, yeah. Oh, man. God, there's a good gag where there's, like, kids take over, and it's like, like, our Barbie's just all upset, and she's like, I don't know what to do with myself, and I just, I don't feel pretty anymore, and I just, I'm so upset and sad and just, like, horrible, and, I'm so ugly, I don't deserve anything, and, like, the narration's like, note to the, like, freaking casting department, Margot Robbie was not the right person to cast to make this point in the movie. It's like, alright, yeah, that's good. But yeah, it's a good, weird, insane fever trip of a movie about freaking capitalism and death and horses and what it means to be human, and also that Ken is kind of a scumbag, but we love him for it. He doesn't know any better. God, that's the other. It's like the Kinsale Revolution. It's like it's actually addressed that it's like, oh yeah, the Kins actually do kind of get the shaft, because it's like directly mentioned. It's like, oh yeah, here's all the Barbie houses the Kins have taken over. It's like, oh yeah, where do the Kins live? And Barbie's like, I actually don't know. I think they just like, they just stay there. They just stay outside and sleep on the ground. It's like, okay, yeah, that's good. But yeah, there's like, yeah, now every night has to be girl night, and you know what? That's okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm about done talking. Right, it is worth knowing. Yeah, big and freaking backlash against this movie because of course, right? Like, this is the wokest crap that's ever woked.
Yeah.
It's literally a movie about feminism and like feelings and girl power or whatever, equality. But it's also like, oh, gay Ken, and yeah, it's like super flamboyant and whatever. And it also somehow managed to work in even a trans Barbie. So you know what? That's pretty cool. God, yeah, that's the thing. It's like I was watching a movie. I'm just like, oh yeah, like people who hate woke things are gonna like hate this shit. Like one of the first things you see is like you're going through how the world works, and there's like Black President Barbie, and they go through the dance party, and there is a quick section specifically for wheelchair Barbie to break it down, and it's like, okay, yeah, like people who hate woke stuff are gonna hate this. Pink and the Spice Girls music was a nice touch. Ah, yeah, that's good. Oh man, like of course it'd be a musical. You know, it's like such a perfect like pick for this. You know, you can't even like it's so like on the it's so on point.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I guess like support the movie or whatever. I don't know. I'll say I consumed it ethically, and I'll leave what that means to be up to the viewers. I'll just let you know there is a rare strike going on. They're not against people boycotting the movie. I watched this ethically.
All right.
Yeah, alright. So yeah, I guess there's like nothing else to really talk about here, is it? Cause it's like the only other thing I'd really talk about, because this has already gone on like way too long, is there's like an entire goofy Ben Shapiro review, and it is kind of hilarious because of how like bad and off the market is, and how she has to like just lie about crap. There's just a point where he's like, oh no, you know, the kids don't get anything or whatever. He's talking how like the kids get like mistreated or whatever. He's like, no one cares about Ben. And he's like, I mean Ken. And it's like, projecting a bit there. So yeah, that was pretty fun. So yeah, I'll just put this up as its own thing, and hey, we can finally be relevant for once.
Yeah.
Yeah, good movie. Even if you've seen this, you should still probably watch it. Cause holy crap, like even just explaining this is probably not doing it justice.
I'm probably not gonna see it, but you know.
No, that's fair. That's super fair.
Yeah. For
if you are, if you
don't care about the fact that you were spoiled or whatever, then you know, yeah, go watch it.
Yeah, no, this is great. If you ever just like don't want to see it, just say, you know, there's a rare strike going on, so you know what, fair enough.
Yeah.